My name is Blake Zanti, Executive Director of the Maddy Institute. This evening, members of the public will have an opportunity to hear from the candidates vying to be the next representative in District 1 on the Fresno County Board of Supervisors. District 1 includes the parts of West Fresno, Biola, Easton, Kerman, San Joaquin, Tranquility, Kentuit Creek, Three Rocks, Mendota, Del Rio, Firebaugh, and Mercy Hot Springs. This forum is held in partnership with Community Media Access Collaborative, CMAC, and GV Wire. I will serve as the timekeeper and moderator, and I would like to give special thanks to CMAC for allowing us to use their facilities and equipment for this important conversation, and to GV Wire for inviting me to serve as the moderator. The questions have been developed exclusively by the Maddy Institute and have not been shared with any of the candidates. Each candidate will get a 2-minute opening statement, a minute to respond to each question, and a 2-minute closing statement. If a candidate is directly mentioned by another candidate, a 30-second rebuttal may be granted at the discretion of the moderator. Candidates, when you're close to time, I'll hold up both of my hands as a signal that you have 10 seconds remaining to wrap up, and that way we can make sure to efficiently get through your answers. Now let's go ahead and meet the candidates. I'm not going to introduce you all, we're just going to jump right in. And we do not have a candidate here yet, so when they arrive, we'll go ahead and go to them later. So with that, we'll start with Councilmember Mike Karbassi to lead us off. You have 2 minutes to introduce yourself, and then we'll move to my right.
Well, thank you so much. I first off want to thank CMAC, I want to thank GV Wire, and of course the Maddy Institute for facilitating this conversation. My name is Mike Karbassi. I've been a council member in the city of Fresno for 7 years, representing the neighborhoods where I was born and raised. Grew up in a small family business that's about to celebrate close to 50 years in business. Went to Fresno State, go Bulldogs, where I got my business degree, local public schools. My roots here do run very deep, and I'm committed to our community. I'm running for Fresno County Supervisor because there are a lot of issues with the current supervisor leaving office. He's been a really, really great person, but we need someone that will step up and be able to handle the immense role of running our county. It is a $5 billion budget. Decisions are made that impact people when it comes to public safety, to social services. The responsibility is immense, and I believe that I am the most poised and prepared to handle this job from day one. This is too important to afford on-the-job training. I'm proud to have built a broad coalition of support. I stand up here with the folks behind me, including our building trades community, our building trades council, the people that literally work and build this community, but also our public safety leaders, the people we trust the most, from Sheriff John Zanoni, DA Lisa Smitkamp, and our associations like our prosecutors, probation officers, firefighter local 2881 for CAL FIRE, Fresno City Firefighters Associations, DA investigators, and the Deputy Sheriff's Association, PORAC, among many, many more. Obviously, public safety is something that's really important to me. While it may not be your number one issue, it is our greatest responsibility as a county to make sure we provide for your safety. I'm committed to doing that. If you want to learn more about the campaign, please visit MikeForFresno.com. That's Mike, F-O-R, Fresno.com. You want a yard sign, you want to ask me questions, I'm very accessible. Everyone gets my phone number. Every mail piece we send out has my personal cell phone number on it. Look forward to this debate tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Mr. Payne, we'll go to you.
Yes, thank GV Wire, CMAC, and the Maddy Institute for having us here this evening. My name is Eric Payne, and I'm running for Fresno County Board of Supervisors, District 1. And I'm running because too many families are really feeling the pinch right now. And as grocery bills are rising, child care is unaffordable, as unemployment continues to rise in our county, and access to affordable housing is running thin. Too many families feel unheard by government, and I'm ready to run and fight for the residents of District 1. I've served 2 terms on the State Center Community College District Board, closing educational gaps across Fresno County, serving a student population of 70,000 students, 6,000 employees, and over $500 million in budgeting. I believe that This seat is going to take somebody who understands fiscal responsibility, who understands what community engagement is and how to engage residents, but more importantly, how to listen to the challenges that residents are facing. I'm ready to step into this role on day one as an experienced, results-driven leader. I'm somebody who has continued to prioritize the interest of the neighborhoods that are in District 1 that I was born and raised in. I went to Washington Union High School, a member of the Future Farmers of America, a long mentor to 4-H students, and I've continued that journey at Alabama A&M University, where I received a degree in biology and chemistry and a master's degree in microbiology. And I'm somebody who understands the issues that residents are facing each and every day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Payne. We'll go to Councilmember Perez.
Sure. Felipe Perez. I'm a council member from Firebaugh since 2014. And thank you so much for the opportunity, and all of you. Why I'm running? Because I'm living in the District 1 since 1988. I'm the person that I know all the issues. I already walked the entire district. I already walked and talked with the people. They already told me what is the needs. And by first hand, I saw the families struggling with different kind of stuff. Infrastructure, roads and transportation. Many communities in District 1 struggle with poor road condition, limited transportation option, and delayed infrastructure improvement. Air quality and environmental health. District 1 is part of the Central Valley region, known for having some of the worst air quality in the country. This has serious health impact. An equal distribution of county resources. This is a strong perception among residents that county resources are not distributed equitable across District 1. Small rural communities often feel overlooked when it comes to funding services, infrastructure, and economic development. Education and economic opportunity. I already are serving, this community since 2014 because I work with Fresno State Office of Community and Economic Development, bringing those kind of resources to our community, like computer literacy classes to over 1,000 of people, 1,000 of families, access to education and job opportunities, agriculture's transition and job loss. The shift from agriculture to energy development is creating uncertainty for many workers in District 1. Representation and trust leadership. Many residents felt that decisions affecting their communities are made without sufficient input from those who live there. This has led concern about representation and trust in local leadership. What is at stake? District 1 is at a critical moment with major decisions being made about land use, economic development, and public investment.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to Trustee Flores.
Yes. Good evening. I'm Lupe Flores. Thank you, G.B. Wire, Maddy Institute, and CMAC for the opportunity. I'm a longtime resident of Mendota. I married to John and blessed with 4 adult children and 8 grandchildren. I'm very happy to be running in this Fresno County Board of Supervisors race. I serve currently 21 years on the Mendota Unified School District, and recently I have retired after 35 years of state service with the Employment Development Department, State Labor Commissioner. I'm a retired Senior Deputy Labor Commissioner. I'm running because I like to make Fresno County to be the #1 continue in agricultural work here, whether it be a job, start a business, or grow your business. Also to have a safe place in Fresno County to live and raise your family. It's very important. All the issues that are taking place in Fresno County in District 1, the majority of the individuals that I speak to the voters, the constituents, is infrastructure, and feel that monies and resources are not being provided in the district. And so having a person with, let's say, 35 years plus 21 years on the school board, that brings an experience of 56 years of public knowledge in policy making, and goal setting, facility oversight, labor law information that can help the employers in Fresno County to be able to provide them with the resources that they need to continue making a better business for themselves. And not only are we losing one Board of Supervisors, but 3. So experience matters in this race. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee. We'll go to Mayor Pacheco.
Hi, my name is Maria Pacheco. I'm the mayor for the city of Kerman. I'm on my 4th year of being the mayor. I'm fully committed to my community, and I am out of time. I'm terming out this year and looking forward to serving you as your supervisor as we continue to grow together here as a public servant. I'm a mother of 6. I've been married for 25 years to my wonderful husband, Cipriano Pacheco. Thank you to gracias a CMEC and GB Wire, Maddy Institute, for putting on this wonderful forum and giving us the opportunity to be heard. I want to talk about my time here in District 1. I was born and raised in Kerman, California. I'm blessed with the opportunity to serve the community that I grew up in. I am very familiar with the area, with not just Kerman, but Viola, where my godparents lived, and Mendota, San Joaquin, where my father worked for Wilbur Alice for 30 years. Growing up, I had a hard life. I faced housing instability. There was many times I couldn't pay the bills. I couldn't keep my PG&E on. And I know those challenges very well that our community still continues to struggle through. However, I was able to get myself to a point where I was able to continue my education. I have a bachelor's degree in social work, and I'm about to graduate with my master's in macro practice social work, which is an emphasis in policy and change on a large scale, next month on May 16th. I'm very excited to be graduating from Fresno State with an education that will really help and benefit the community, especially in this position. As the mayor, in my first 100 days, I secured millions of dollars for the city, and I look forward to continuing to champion that kind of advocacy for District 1. Thank you. I appreciate being here today.
Thank you very much. We're going to jump right into the questions for the candidates. We'll go ahead, because we started with introduction with Councilmember Karbassi, we'll go ahead and alternate who begins each question. So we'll start with you on this one, Mr. Payne. Several efforts are underway to renew Measure C, a 4-decade-old measure that provides funding for local transportation projects. The Better Roads, Safe Streets campaign recently submitted 32,000 signatures to Fresno County in order to qualify its transportation sales tax measure for the November ballot. This effort proposes a half-cent sales tax over 30 years to raise approximately $7.3 billion for local transportation needs. A proposed competing effort known as Fix Our Roads has not yet submitted any signatures, but proposes a 20-year, $3.9 billion proposal. Where do each of you as candidates stand on these proposals? We'll start with you, Mr. Payne.
Yeah.
You have 1 minute.
Because I've only seen the ballot language for the proposal that has been submitted, and I'm not fully aware of the language in detail that the opposing effort is looking to prioritize and submit. But what I will say is, my campaign is rooted in justice, and our roads and our infrastructure in Fresno County has been crumbling, and we need to see the investment in our streets and our roads and our lights, because everyday folks that live in my neighborhood talk about just the potholes that have damaged their cars, or folks that live in Mendota and Firebaugh who it takes them over an hour to get to the airport. We need innovative approaches to our transportation issues, and I'm ready to problem solve those challenges on day one.
Thank you. We'll go to you, Councilmember Perez.
Sure. Measure C is needed. I was involved since the beginning. I was the one that I took 300 people in San Joaquin to meet and know the needs. They speak directly with the person to give them the feedback. We already know we have this kind of issues. It's not from yesterday. This has a lot of a long time that we don't see our community served as they deserve. Is why when they told me about it, it's going to be 2 cents by $1, by $2 is 1 cent. I say, of course, count with me, because I want the best for my community. I run, I drive every day these roads, and I know exactly where the potholes are, where the roads are needed, and all these kind of things. Not because somebody told me, because I saw it.
Thank you. We'll go to you, Trustee Flores. You have 1 minute.
Yes. I'll support whatever measure makes it to the ballot, and I feel that we need something for our roads. It would be a very difficult thing not to have our roads fixed, not to have money to fix those roads, any type of infrastructure needed. As I said earlier in my introduction, that was the number one complaint from all the residents in the whole District 1. But we hear it across the board in all the districts. Roads are killing the cars. I even feel like a mechanic sometimes, because now I know what they need: spark plugs, they need suspension, balancing. So it's very costly to the community, and I would support whatever measure makes it to the ballot.
Thank you, Mayor Pacheco.
Hi, I support the measure that we submitted the signatures for. So better roads, safe streets is the measure that I have supported and will continue to support. I think that it's the way that we need to go. It's a community-led effort that has had the participation of lots of people in the community along with the mayors. I think that we have seen too much disinvestment in our communities for too long, and this measure will address those. I think that we are looking forward, all of us are looking forward to increased public transportation, increased infrastructure, better roads, and safe streets, as the measure is called.
Thank you very much. We've been joined by West Hills Trustee Omar Hernandez. We're talking about Measure C and the renewal of that transportation initiative. What's your position on Measure C? If you could answer that in 1 minute.
Yeah, it's something that has been integral for our communities for a long time, and it's important that we start supporting a measure that is backed by the communities, and that's the one that we've seen a lot of the mayors support, better roads, safer streets. At the end of the day, I think that a measure that's led by the community leaders, is probably the best thing that we can do, and we can't be waiting anymore for different measures. So if the community and the mayors agree that this is the best for their communities, I think that's the best way to go.
Thank you. And Councilmember Karbassi.
Sure, great question. So Measure C has been around for most of my lifetime. It was renewed 20 years ago. It's up for renewal again. I think one of the things that I've heard time and time again, walking door to door to learn about our greater district, is wherever you are, the issue of roads constantly comes up. And it's not just about major thoroughfares like Shaw Avenue, of course. It's also about the condition of roads and gutters and sidewalks in neighborhoods too. I think where Measure C had some trouble is we should have early on programmed more of that money to go around schools for safe routes to schools. We just, along with Supervisor Pacheco, just 2 weeks ago, unveiled the county's first county-run Hawk signal, which is a high-activated crosswalk. It's a crosswalk on steroids right next to a school that straddled the city-county line. Those are the investments we want to see. I can tell you, though, if Measure C doesn't get renewed, the city of Fresno probably will survive, but the county rural communities won't. So no matter what version you vote for, we need a renewal of Measure C to reinvest in our neighborhoods.
Thank you. We'll move to the next question, starting with you, Council Member. According to reporting by GV Wire, Fresno County was ranked as the nation's top ag county, with ag values exceeding $9 billion. While District 1 includes parts of urban Fresno, much of the district encompasses the west side of Fresno County. As a supervisor, how will you continue to support production of agriculture as pressures mount to take more land out of production?
Thank you so much for the question. In fact, I'm a former field worker. I know, for firsthand, where I used to work in the fields, I know the farmers are struggling because they lack water. Of course, who in this beautiful Central Valley doesn't want ag? All of us want ag, but it's a big issue because the lack of water. The thing that they are telling us that they want to bring, solar panels, that's all right. Bring them. But give us enough CBAs to our communities, not just on some people, but some nonprofits. Our communities are struggling. They are paying bills, bigger bills. They don't have enough to pay rent. They don't have enough to pay food. All these kind of things. So I'm in favor. Keep working the ag with that level.
Thank you very much. Trustee Flores.
Yes, Fresno County being the #1 in the state and the nation needs to be supportive of our agricultural community. Late in the 90s, I spoke at the Capitol for the first rally that they had regarding the shortage of water and the cutbacks. We had the community come together. We had farmers. We had buses take farm workers, and businesses be there, trailers and equipment. The whole community came together, but it hasn't got better. It has only worse. We have, like the council member said, we have our solar farms just taking over. I used to work in the fields as well, on the tomato machines, and now it's automated on hoeing cotton and thinning lettuce. All of that has pretty much the labor force has been reduced. So they have gone into automation, but at the same time, we continue to reduce our water intake. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pacheco.
Thank you. So this is a conversation that we've had with many of our agricultural people, from anywhere from the field workers to the ag owners, and everyone agrees that the biggest challenge out there is water. And I think that's an opportunity for me to really showcase my relationships and the experience that I have as the mayor in my ability to advocate and go to Sacramento and go to Washington, D.C. and advocate for water for our ag community. I think that beyond that, we need to also support our field laborers in that and making sure that they have a place to live. And farm worker housing is one of those things that we're really struggling with. So I would really like to have the opportunity as your supervisor to champion both those things for our agricultural communities on both sides, water and farm worker housing.
Thank you. Trustee Hernandez.
Would you mind asking the question again, please?
Yes, so Fresno County was recently ranked as the nation's top ag-producing county. As a supervisor, how will you continue to support the production of agriculture as pressures mount to take more land out of production?
Yeah, definitely. Well, as someone that's grown up in agriculture for a long time, I worked over 10 years on a farm. I know firsthand what it's like to be out there, right? To be out in the sun, to be, to what it's like to be a worker that is sometimes underappreciated by our communities, by our society, and they're folks that are the backbone of this county, as you've mentioned. One of the conversations that I've had a lot about is with the reduced water that we're getting allocated to this area. We need to start investing in drought-resistant crops. We've seen a lot of agave going into Fresno County, over 100 acres, I believe. Agave has been invested in Fresno County alone, and so we got to make sure that we're supporting the research that goes into that, so that we can make up for the loss of water. And additionally, we need to invest in added value agriculture manufacturing.
Thank you, Councilmember Karbassi.
Sure. Look, as someone who was born and raised here, there is no question how important ag is for this community. But the west side of this community is the heartbeat of this entire county. Every time the county is #1 for ag, it's because of communities on the west side. But I don't want to ask our farmers to do more. They've been doing so much already and dealing with a state that just doesn't care about farming. SGMA has been so difficult for them. You need someone that really understands the issues and is able to effectively fight Sacramento. And here's the thing. Everyone on this stage is going to fight. They're all going to tell you that. But the question is, who's actually going to win that fight? I'm going to join my colleagues in the Board of Supervisors. In fact, 3 of them have already endorsed me. Supervisors Supervisors Chavez, Bredefeld, and Buddy Mendez, who is a farmer himself. And we are going to fight Sacramento and make sure they pay more attention to us. And we're going to get more resources for West Side communities and the farm workers too. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Payne.
Yeah, I've grown up in unincorporated communities like Easton, So I know firsthand the challenges that many of those family-owned and operated farms are experiencing when we talk about just the barriers to stay in business. I mean, I've talked to folks who are just literally days and weeks away from filing for bankruptcy because things are just so unaffordable. The need for insurance, rising insurance costs, crop feed. Folks ranchers that are having challenges with affording the feed prices. And water access. We need more water access in our rural communities, but more importantly, we need good paying jobs. So we need to look at diversifying our economy when it comes to agriculture, because we have to have access to health care. We have to have ag tech innovation. And all of these things work together as we look to increase public-private partnerships here in Fresno County for good paying jobs.
Thank you. We're going to move on to the next question. Recently, the Board of Supervisors authorized the county CAO to hire an auditing agency to conduct an independent review of Fresno County's Department of Social Services over claims that children have been routinely placed in dangerous situations. As a supervisor, what needs to change in the DSS, and is the audit enough? We'll start with you, Trustee Flores.
An audit is a good place to start because it would tell you where your weaknesses and where your strengths are. But what I understand and I see is even former employees who worked in that department complained about how children are being released back to the home where the abuses have taken place. Those are atrocities. Our children should not be in a predicament where their health and safety is endangered. I believe that it's very sensitive, and I agree that children should go back with parents, but when they're ready and fully able to take care of their children. But while there's stability in a foster care, then that has to be looked at, and maybe additional review and services and speaking with the children be something that can prevent things from going south on situations when a good thing has happened. But I support an audit and evaluation of the social services.
Thank you. Mayor Pacheco.
Absolutely. The Department of Social Services, it has been incredibly impacted for a very long time, and the social workers that work for the county are overburdened and underpaid. And these are the types of results that comes from a system that is broken. We need to pay some special attention to the Department of Social Services, and we need to make some decisions regarding how we are going about this particular department. It's unfortunate that we have some of our children that are being re-traumatized because a system is not working or functioning the way that it should when it comes to our children. Our children are our biggest investment that we should be making in the county. I think that there needs to be more money put into the Department of Social Services, and there needs to be accountability and oversight. So I'm 100% for having an audit and also having accountability and accessibility to the community for this particular program. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Hernandez.
Yeah, I agree that an audit is a great place to start. Though it's hard to really say whether or not it'll be enough until we have findings. And for what it's worth, I think that we should be auditing all our departments that receive funding from our budget to make sure that we're cutting wasteful spending, so that it can be later, wasteful spending can be cut, and then we can put it in departments that need support, like the Department of Social Services, to make sure that we're giving proper training to the staff and to the employees there.
Thank you. Councilmember Karbassi.
Yeah, look, I fully support the audit, but let's talk about social services like you asked. What changes need to be made? Over half the population of this county calls DSS and has some form of support. But even calling to get linked is a problem. We have county employees that are very dedicated. They would have to work 35 years on the job to retire for 60% of their current pay, no cost of living adjustment, no health care. The irony of those employees trying to help people in trauma in a department that's understaffed is they're eventually going to be on DSS themselves. What we need is someone on the board that has experience with multi-billion-dollar budgets, complex systems, private sector experience, and is going to be an advocate for those workers. And I'm going to be that advocate for them.
Thank you. Mr. Payne.
Yeah. I think it's going to require, from a policy perspective, that the county look at a safety first model for some of our youngest constituents here in Fresno County who are looking for a safety net when they come into the system to be received. Children should not be sleeping under a desk. There needs to be a clear channel for communication for employees to file grievances when these things are happening. And the DSS needs to have full transparency with the public to earn the public's trust back with annual reporting. And also, we need to ensure that once this audit is completed, that there are enforcement mechanisms in place to ensure that they carry out the findings. And I'm somebody that's going to continue to hold folks accountable on day one when I get to the Fresno County Board of Supervisors.
Thank you, Councilmember.
Of course, I'm in favor of the audit because the audit is going to make us more clear what do we have, where we go, and of course, we want more money. With $5.2 billion in the entire Fresno County. In the rural areas, we don't have not even one visit from HSS, social services. For me, it's something that they are behind. They are left us as a rural area behind. Of course, we need the child living a better life with their parents, more help with mental health for the entire family, not just for the kid, for the entire family. With the social services, again, working in a good way, I think the entire, San Joaquin Valley will benefit for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pacheco, we'll start with you on this question. According to a news release published by the county in late March, Fresno County has a projected budget impact of $68 million to $295 million as a result of H.R. 1. As a result, Fresno County has signed on to a request being led by the California State Association of Counties, or CSAC, to ask Governor Newsom for relief. Do you support this approach, and what other actions can be taken to address the projected budget shortfall while maintaining services?
Yeah, this is a tough one. This is something that we feared coming on when this administration first took place, and unfortunately, we're seeing some of that impact and bracing for it to get worse. I think that yes, I support anything that will help our community, right? We need to pull funding down from somewhere, and so hopefully, we'll be able to get that funding down from the state. I would be one of those people who are going up to the state and looking for some additional funding and asking for additional resources. What I'm hoping to do is see the new revenues that are coming in, looking forward to the solar development revenue that'll be coming down, the property tax that we'll be seeing coming from that, and hopefully being able to use some of that new revenue to plug in some of these deficiencies.
Thank you. Trustee Hernandez.
Yeah, I think it's great for us to try to get relief at the state level, though this is likely going to be a multi-year issue. And so we need to make sure that we can try to mitigate some of those lack of dollars that we're going to be seeing in these next couple of years through other measures. I think that it's important that we heavily invest in economic development to make sure that we're seeing more tax revenue here locally, so that way we can try to offset some of that funding that we're losing, whether it be from federal cuts or state cuts. But I think it's important that we start investing in more economic development so that we can see more dollars here locally.
Thank you. Councilmember Karbassi.
Yeah. So the idea of asking for a bailout, that's just temporary. Let's say Sacramento comes through and gives us the money. That's great. But what's next? How do we prevent this from happening again? How did we not see this coming? Why it's so important to have someone that understands how to manage $1 billion budget, and the city of Fresno is $2.4 billion. It's because we would have policies in place, like a strong fiscal reserve, so we don't have to lay people off. I do not want to do that, because that cuts services to people, and that matters the most. We'd be able to actually have policies in place to be able to be ready for this. One of the biggest things we've had in this county, anyone who lives in Fresno knows this. How many people have left Fresno to live in Madera? That is wealth leaving our community, working families leaving our community. They work in Fresno, they spend their day in Fresno, we have the burden of it, but they go to Madera County and they get the money. Part of building more housing that people want in this community is keeping them here and keeping our property tax base high. We need to raise revenue without passing new taxes on people.
Thank you. Mr. Payne.
We need to transition to zero-based budgeting. We need department heads to provide justifications. We need to implement a freeze and everything else, but to ensure that we are having a human first approach, a safety first approach when we look at budgeting, and everything else needs to be reviewed on a case by case by the Board of Supervisors to ensure that essential services are being met here in Fresno County. But absolutely, we need to figure out a long-term strategy where these budget deficits are, where they exist. And we need to also implement a process around fiscal responsibility as we look to receive budgets. I've heard of different budget scenarios around a 3% budget cut and hiring freezes. And that's not what the residents are asking for or need.
Thank you. Councilmember Perez.
Yeah, for me, is we need an audit with the entire Fresno County Board of Supervisors to see where the money is when and where the most needed. Because if we don't get somebody that I know the need of all the communities, they're gonna be year by year. We need to understand, since 2023, I'm an advocate for the solar companies. They're going to make billions, some of them trillions of dollars. We need to make accountable and make them to pay, the fare that we need on the rural areas and not the rural areas in the city of Fresno, because it's not going to be millions, it's going to be billions, trillions. And advocate for more money in California and Sacramento and a federal level too, because we deserve it. We are a worker people over here.
Thank you. Trustee Flores.
Yes, it's sad to say, but California as a state is in deficit itself. It's going to be a miracle to get relief, whether from the federal or the state, to help the county. But we'll be hopeful and we'll advocate. But I do know that fiscal accountability as well as audits are required so that we could see where the spending, the wasteful spending is, reduce that and put it into programs that we need to have survive, and their priority to take care of the county. It is our responsibility when we get there as a Board of Supervisor to maintain and make those hard decisions. Have the decision-making power where you're going to not be afraid of what is going to, if people are going to like it or not, but it's for the best interest of the whole District 1.
Thank you. Mayor Pacheco.
No.
Yes, you started.
Oh, you were last. Thank you. We'll start with Trustee Hernandez now. So the Central Valley Community Foundation recently published its healthcare landscape study, which found that Valley hospitals face severe financial strain and significant workforce shortages that remain in the healthcare field. I don't think either of these things really come as a surprise. What can Fresno County do to strengthen its position and provide access to care to residents, especially in rural communities in District 1?
Yeah, we need to partner with our local community colleges. Some of them are fighting to try to get bachelors in nursing and bringing more space and availability for these positions. I mean, at Fresno State we're impacted, at Fresno City we're impacted. So we need to make sure that we're providing services and programs in order to add to that, to the professionals that can come and provide health services. So I think that the biggest thing that we can do is advocate alongside our educational institutions to try to get them more access and more availability and space to train more professionals, because a lot of the people that get trained here locally stay here locally.
Thank you. Councilmember Karbassi.
Yeah, so I think one of the things we can do is to reduce the burden on the system by working with some of our local health clinics. I have some experience with this. Pinedale is in my community. I've been honored to be the representative for Pinedale for 7 years, and they're a community that historically was underserved and underappreciated. Well, we broke ground last year with Valley Health Team on a first-of-its-kind clinic for Pinedale, so people won't have to drive to the emergency room and get help. There's an urgent care there on site. There's an x-ray machine on site. Communities like Firebaugh and San Joaquin, Kerman, and beyond, some of them have these health clinics, but they also need urgent care as well. So I would support working with some other nonprofits and other entities to actually not reinvent the wheel, but just do what they do well and do it across the west side. And I think that also Southwest Fresno is in desperate need of another facility. And in fact, I'm meeting with Valley Health Team to look at that site this month. So that's what I would do.
Thank you, Mr. Payne.
As executive director at the Central Valley Urban Institute, which is a regional nonprofit that works on behalf of low-income communities, one of our pillars of success is health equity. So we take a deep dive into these issues around healthcare access, specifically here in Fresno County. And so I've worked with a number of healthcare providers from community healthcare systems to UCSF, Fresno, and our higher education institutions like Fresno State and Fresno City College to look at what mobile healthcare looks like, how we can begin to look at attracting more healthcare professionals into this market, and what are some things that we can begin to do in working with some of our community care clinic practitioners to ensure that communities like Firebaugh, Mendota, San Joaquin, Kerman have the right type of access to health care that they need.
Thank you, Councilmember Perez.
Of course. Whole system is broken in the rural areas. We don't have enough, clinics. We don't have enough doctors. We don't have better staff to attend to people. It's the lack of culture and the lack of language with our people. What we need to do is, again, redo this and see what is working better for everyone, not for just some. For each of the communities, the entire District 1 is a mix of city and rural areas. You guys know, everybody knows the rural areas never get what they deserve. This is, for me, we need to redo this entire health system, because if we don't do it, we're going to suffer the same thing forever. We need to, work hard on those kind of things.
Thank you. Trustee Flores.
Yes. Many of our cities that are incorporated have health facilities, but there's a lack of health facilities. And in order to create more, have maybe even a small hospital somewhere close by, central, would be advocating with the medical providers, with your hospitals, to see how we can have this come out to the rural areas. There's never sufficient health care for anyone. They have to travel into Fresno to get additional services or dialysis into Kerman and Fresno. But that healthcare industry has to be more accessible to the people of all of Fresno County District 1.
Thank you, Mayor Pacheco.
Yeah, healthcare access and equity is an incredibly important issue that our district constituents have been struggling with for a very long time. I'm not sure if my opponents are aware that the city of San Joaquin doesn't have an ultrasound technician there in the clinic. And so they were bringing in a mobile unit for some time, and unfortunately that mobile unit also has moved out of the district, and they do not have access to ultrasound machines there anymore. And so access to healthcare, access to just the most simplest things is very difficult for people in rural communities. We struggle with access to hospitals. We're very grateful that Madera Community Hospital has reopened. However, they're still struggling to stay open. So working with our legislators, making sure that we are advocating for those funds to keep our hospitals open, and making sure that we're fighting for access and transportation and access to clinics and healthcare, and bringing in those services and resources into our communities when we can.
Thank you. We're going to move on to the next question. Councilmember Karbassi. For years, the County of Fresno has discussed developing plans for industrial and commercial opportunities along the 99 corridor. Such opportunities include an industrial park, an inland port, and alternative energy production facilities. If you're successful in your race for supervisor, would you commit to using county resources to study these opportunities and initiate a county EIR?
I think we've studied it to death. We just haven't done anything. And we talked a minute ago about having to get a bailout from Sacramento. This is a good example of what we can do now to actually facilitate economic growth in industries we don't even have here. Ag will always be the heartbeat of this community. But we also have to look at peripheral industries that benefit ag and also offer transition for employees that are going to be displaced with all the new solar farms. This could be a way of doing that. But you're not going to just do that by saying, I'm going to do it. You actually have to have the experience of doing that. And it's a very, very hard work. I fully support the effort of doing that, but we also are getting sued every time we have big ideas about trying to expand economic opportunities. We have to push back against these frivolous lawsuits that just cost taxpayers money and drive up the cost of living in this community. Ultimately, economic growth is a good thing. Standing on our own 2 feet is a good thing, but you need someone at the helm with the experience that can not just talk about it, but get it done, and we're going to get it done.
Thank you. Mr. Payne.
Yeah, we absolutely need to look at green and climate justice investments and financing opportunities for Fresno County to increase job growth in the market and in the region. And not just increase job growth, but attract good paying, high quality jobs through biotechnology, through incentivizing small business support, establishing a small business fund, because so many of our small businesses are struggling in this current climate. We need to be working to ensure that everybody is talking to each other in the county. There's so many silos in the community around these really important discussions and issues, and we really need to be coming to the table together to problem solve. And I'm absolutely somebody that can do that and bring folks to the table so we can build some real solutions about getting people to work here in Fresno County.
Thank you. Councilmember Perez.
Absolutely. We need economic development, but we need to ask the people what do they want. We, the people, is the Constitution of the United States. We need to ask them what is the best for them, for their health, what is the best for their economy, for all these kind of things. I'm not, I didn't came from a country where some of the politicians take decisions just for them, not for everybody else. We need to listen to everyone that lives in those places and what do they want. If they really want those kind of projects, or they want something different, they need a lot of help. Of course, they need a lot of help where they job creation. Agreed, but what kind of jobs? I already, in the small park with Fresno State, I already help a lot of people to do their own business. That's why I know all these kind of things. But we need to ask the people, what do they want?
Thank you. Trustee Flores.
Yes, I support an industrial park or economic development. It is a future of any district, and by doing so, we would have to network with business development companies, agencies, as well as your developers. Make sure that we have a plan, a general plan, that we meet CEQA, that we go through all the zoning requirements. Because it's not just going and advocating, it's do we have a plan for the future? How are we going to affect our neighbors? How is the infrastructure going to come in so that they're prepared to receive water shortage or when they start using water for their development? It affects everyone, not just the momentarily for that development and industrial park, but we have to make sure that everything is met. But yes, we should champion the industrial parks.
Thank you. Mayor Pacheco.
Yes, absolutely. Growth should be human-centered. We cannot prioritize new growth for developers while current neighborhoods lack basic infrastructure. I think that we must ensure that the urban expansions doesn't lead to further social isolation, and so we want to make sure that we are responsible in the way that we're continuing that growth and that we're listening to the community as we do that.
Thank you. Trustee Hernandez.
Yeah, over this past year as a trustee, I've been doing a lot of research and trying to see why haven't we gotten further manufacturing to come to the west side, to come to the county. A lot of that issue comes that we don't have the skilled workforce in certain parts of the county, and that's usually what we hear back. It's important that we're providing, that we're bringing industries that not only fit in with what's already around the area, but also industries that'll thrive. I mean, we've seen countless operations open and close out on the west side, and so it's important that we're doing a study to make sure which ones thrive best here, which ones will bring the most amount of jobs, but also not affect the agriculture around us or the environment around us. But it's important that we do studies like this to make sure that we're bringing those jobs that will ultimately bring more tax revenue.
Thank you. We'll go to our next question, starting with you, Mr. Payne. With much discussion and news headlines being made surrounding the Southeast Development Area, or SADA, is Southwest Fresno being left behind?
Absolutely, Southwest Fresno has been left behind. I say the west side is the best side. And so with that, we need to be making the necessary investments for some of the oldest infrastructure in the county, in communities like the west side, and just basic amenities just around ensuring that our children have access to clean drinking water. I think ensuring that our families have access to complete neighborhoods, safe routes to school, we've heard today. And we want to make sure that we're working towards violence prevention and intervention. I hear so many people say that their neighborhoods feel so unsafe. And the question that as leaders we need to be asking is why? And what can we do more of to ensure that our neighborhoods and our young people feel invested in, that they're not leaving, that we're not having the brain drain exist in our community. And I'm ready to fight for that.
Thank you. We're going to move on. We'll go to Councilmember Perez.
West Side, of course, has left behind for so long. Why they don't put this near to Clovis or some other places? Why it's choose just the West Side? Why they don't put next to one of the supervisors' houses? Or some of the people that they say yes. Let's ask the people, what do they want? If they really need those kind of things. Because when I went there and talked with them, they have a lot of issues. Lack of water, good water. The streets, you can see the streets in the west side, there on the Elm Street. A lot of potholes, no police department, often. There's a lot of issues that has happened there. Why they they don't come to this place, or supervisors or council members, and see what I or need, instead of do whatever they want to do? No, we need to ask them, and what is the priority of them?
Thank you. Trustee Flores.
The West Side has many needs, and the needs go from having safe drinking water to infrastructure to having parks and recreations, feeling like a safe community, to live in a safe community, as well as having the minimal things of a good sidewalk, I've heard. And it's important that we advocate those tax dollars and put them back into the West Side, because everybody pays taxes, whether it's a sales tax, a property tax. You're paying a tax into a government agency that you believe is going to do the right thing by your geographical area. And that's where I come in, so that I represent the West Side and make sure that those tax dollars are going back into those communities and they're being developed and the needs are being met.
Thank you. Mayor Pacheco.
So I just want to be clear, we are talking specifically about SADA, yes?
Correct.
Okay. All right. So, I do not support SADA. So I just want to make sure that that's very clear. I am supervisor, or I will be supervisor for District 1. And I think that there has been framework since 2017, and the people have spoken. And I think that when it comes to SADA and it comes to the Southwest specific plan, we want to make sure that we are accountable and that we are listening to the constituents and what they are asking for. and what they have been advocating for since 2017. And so I don't think that it's fair for anyone to come into this district and have, the forethought or the priority to take money and resources out of the district that we're coming to represent and move it over into another side of the area to promote sprawl when we need investment in our neighborhoods.
Thank you. Trustee Hernandez.
Yeah, I think 100% the Southwest Fresno is being left behind, especially if we support something like SADA. We already have bad roads. We already have bad infrastructure. We have people traveling further distances to access medical services, to find grocery stores, and to find good jobs. And so in the passing of a SADA, or at least a SADA that we're seeing now, will add to the resource gap and inequities of Southwest Fresno. So we got to make sure that we're investing first in the communities that have long been forgotten and long been left behind before we can move on to grow to some other area.
Councilmember Karbassi.
Yeah, so I was proud last year to support the West Area Specific Plan. This is a land use plan for west of the 99 that's going to open up growth and development so you have amenities and services. When I first came on the council, I was a bulldog to make sure Veterans Boulevard got completed, and you've seen how that's opened up West Fresno, forgotten Fresno, to the rest of this community so people can access services and resources. And Phil Larson, of course, was the first person who championed that, and he just passed away, so I hope, of course, we wish his family well at this time. Anyone that wants to pit SADA versus West Fresno and do either or is just a lazy politician that doesn't know the issue. Demand is so high for housing in Fresno that people are going to Madera and they're leaving the county. We need growth all over. We need new development that pays a higher tax base to pay into the system so we can help existing neighborhoods. That's the reality you're not being told. I've run a $2 billion budget. Trust me, I know what's necessary. And this idea of no growth, no jobs, you can't say you support industrial, but then want to kill SADA. It doesn't work that way. You can't talk about out of both sides of your mouth.
Thank you. We're going to move on to our next question. Artificial intelligence is changing our world, and many AI companies are seeking to build data centers throughout the country. What is your position on data centers coming to Fresno County? Councilmember Perez, we'll start with you.
Again, it's, the AI going to take some jobs that already were developed for human. That's my issue with this, because we are struggling with the job, the lack of job in the west side. If you go to the west side, tell our people, the farm workers, that they're going to be, replaced with the AI. They're going to tell me why they're bringing this to us. Now, we need people working on those centers. We need human beings, because the AI, they never ate. We ate. The people from the west side ate. They need to pay bills. They need the people over here in Fresno. They need those kind of jobs. We don't need those AI.
Thank you. Trustee Flores.
Data centers, AI is promising but yet dangerous. There's a lot that has to go behind it to even know what are the protections and the safety for people to work and interact with it. But if you build data centers out in the area after further review of this, it takes a lot of water. And they should have their own grid so that they can maintain their own power. And of course, it would enhance our internet services throughout the region. But we have to remember the cost. We can barely get water today, good water. But that's going to take lots of water, gallons of water, in order to support a data center of that type, of that magnitude. So therefore, that has to be really considered and reviewed to make sure we're making the best decision for District 1 in Fresno County.
Thank you. Mayor Pacheco.
Yeah, well, that one, it kind of depends. Where it would be, whether or not it would be placed on land that's already been fallowed. We definitely don't want to give any more of our agricultural land up, and how it will be cooled, whether or not it would be cooled with water or would be cooled with wind, because I did look into these data centers, and I was very concerned with the water consumption that they use to cool the data center. And so I definitely wouldn't be in favor of us using water in any way to cool these data centers, because we already are struggling so much with water for our ag and our communities. And so I would need to look further into it and do some more research into it, but I do see that they are now moving towards using wind for cooling.
Thank you. Trustee Hernandez.
I think as of now, it's a bad idea. I think that we already don't have enough water for farming, and our community is already having a hard time getting access to clean, safe water. And we've seen that data centers, as far as the ones that have been built recently, have taken up a lot of water, and they've also poisoned some of the resources around them locally. So I think that bringing something like that to communities that already lack water or don't necessarily have the best, safe, clean water, I think is asking for a further disaster.
Thank you. Councilmember Karbassi.
Yeah, so I think right now I'm a no. There's a lot of questions that have to be answered. Questions about resources, energy, water, what they're going to use. It also does depend where you're going to put it. Let's say we put this facility in Mendota. Mendota is a great community. They've waived development fees because they're hungry for growth. But we have to do a cost-benefit analysis. What is the cost? What is going to be captured for the residents of Mendota or other cities in this community? So AI is here, folks. It's here. It's reality. We have to look at, of course, how it's going to displace our current workers in different industries. It could have some advancements in medicine, which can save lives. At the same time, it's going to eliminate jobs, and that is something I'm very worried about. How are we going to help people transition from jobs that have been they've been AI'd out from their jobs? And that's another thing that we're not talking about, but we should.
Thank you. Mr. Payne.
Fresno County should not be a sacrifice zone for the digital economy. But if data centers are to happen, they need to come with a sense of water responsibility, energy accountability, and we need to make sure that there's a real community benefit for the residents that are there. And it should not be something that happens to communities. It should be something that happens with communities to ensure that there's a job priority for people that are in the community and in the neighborhood that want access to workforce opportunity. This should not be a money grab for the data centers where they bring these large 50,000 square foot facilities into our neighborhood and extract our resources and go back to Beverly Hills. So we want to make sure that they're doing their due diligence and that they're a good neighbor.
Thank you. We have time for one more question before we move into candidate closing statements, because we'll start with you on this one, Trustee Flores. What experience or qualifications separates you from your opponents, and how will you balance the needs of rural and urban communities in your district? Sort of a two-part question. We'll start
Two
with
parts,
you.
yeah. My experience is life experience, along with I received my degree from West Hills College in business. I also have a small business, and I know the challenges of the employers in California. I work with the State Labor Commissioner's office. I know the laws. I know the requirements. I know safety. I have the knowledge of compliance with state labor laws, the Employment Development Department. I know the rates that employers have to pay, the requirements with workers' comp, but I also know the challenges of the workers. The workers and their rights have to be protected. We have to service not only the agricultural employers and the employers of industries A to Z, but also everyone that works in any environment or has a business. So my life experience will provide a full-rounded support for District 1 and to make decisions necessary along with my school trustee policy making. Thank you.
Mayor Pacheco.
Yeah, so what sets me apart, I think, is my education in social work and policy, specifically in macro practice social work. I have a bachelor's in social work from Fresno State. I'll have my MSW next month. I am the mayor for the city of Kerman, which is the largest incorporated city in this district that we are serving, if you discount, urban Fresno, right? I have experience in legislation working with Assemblywoman Esmeralda Soria. But most of all, I have lived experience. I come here with a plethora of lived experience, understanding what it is to be an unhoused person, all the way through working my way up out of poverty and into education and now into public service. And I think that the heart and the passion and the lived experience that I bring to the community is what truly sets me apart from this group.
Thank you. Trustee Hernandez.
Yeah, I think we need someone that really understands our communities. I think as someone that's spent over 10 years on a farm, worked on starting their own operation, supports ag issues for Congress, and knows what I really understand what our ag communities are facing, both on the top, from the top to bottom, right? Whether it be policy issues, whether it be farm owner issues, or whether it's as someone that's worked on a farm. As a trustee for the West Hills College District, I represent a large portion of the West Side, and so I also understand the lack of funding for rural community college districts, for the poor funding models for our education. I've gone and pushed for advocating in Sacramento, in DC. I worked for 2.5 years at the city of Fresno as a field representative for a council member. I'm someone that's had experience in just about all the aspects that represent this community, both the urban, the rural, the education, and the policy.
Thank you. Councilmember Karbassi.
Blake, I don't think you're actually getting answers to the question. I'm going to ask you to ask it one more time so the public can hear it. One more time.
The question is, what experience or qualifications separates you from your opponents? How will you balance the needs of rural and urban communities in your district?
Let's talk about the second part of the question first. So as a council member in Fresno, I represent 80,000 people in a town of, bless you, in a town of well over 500,000. I've been able to advocate for my district and the city as a whole at the same time. Even though there's competing interests, it's all about balance. And I don't think it's mutually exclusive. Lowering crime is good for the city, but it sure as heck is good for my district. So when I refuse to pass budgets unless they actually hired more cops, you've seen plummeting violent crime rates in Fresno, and I'm proud to have spearheaded that. Now, going to the first issue of what separates us, I respect all the candidates up here. It's experience. No one up here has run a multi-billion-dollar budget. In the last 7 years, every budget we've passed has been balanced.
Thank you. Mr. Payne.
I think, I'm a candidate that believes in the responsibility to protect our children, the responsibility to protect our seniors, and a responsibility to ensure that our residents have access to good paying jobs, high quality health care, and affordable housing. And I am the only candidate on this stage that continues to live this out every day by fighting for these values in Sacramento, that works with local policymakers to ensure that we have a results approach to its implementation. We can see that through the new community college campus in Southwest Fresno. That is a multi-million-dollar investment in the neighborhood that is driven by a public-private partnership. And it's going to attract affordable housing, child care facilities, and it's going to increase the infrastructure in our neighborhood. And
Thank you, Mr.
that's why I'm running for Fresno County Board of Supervisors.
Thank you. Councilmember Perez.
Life experience. I used to work on Fresno State on different projects. And I listen. I'm very good listening people. Their needs. Nobody is connected. No one is connected like I am. Nobody has, walk like I am. I already walked an entire district. I already listen to the people. Some of them on the north side, west side. They just want to know if you win, come to our home and make a mega grid. Perfect. The west side, they know what they need. With Firebaugh, I'm a team maker, always trying to do the best for the community, not just for me or just for few, the four. It's for all of us. And I believe in the Constitution. We the people, not just one the people, no. We the people are who put us. If somebody put me on there, I appreciate everything that they gonna do for me. I'm very thankful for it. Thank you so much.
Trustee Flores. Oh, did you?
I did.
began?
Yeah, I was the first
Sorry, there's so
one.
many
That's okay.
candidates. It's hard for me to keep track. Now we're going to move into closing statements. I just want to say before we close, thank you to each of you for being here this evening and for taking the step to run. All of you either serve or have served in public office in some capacity, so we appreciate your service and for taking this opportunity. We'll go ahead. I believe since you started, Trustee Flores, we'll start with you, Mayor Pacheco, in the closing statement. We are butting up against time, but you have 2 minutes in your closing statement, so we'll start with you, and then we'll finish with Trustee Flores.
Thank you very much. I just want to close and remind my friends who are out there watching that I wasn't planning on being in public service, but I stepped up and I stepped out for you. I answered your call. And I'm asking that we continue to move forward together in bringing access to our communities, making sure that we have equity in our communities, and that we move forward together in a good way. I appreciate the opportunity that I've had to serve my community for the last 4 years, and I look forward to serving you as your supervisor and bringing the same love, the same passion, the same accountability, the same resources that we've been able to bring together over the last 4 years. I look forward to expanding that over to new areas. I know that one of my opponents says that he is the one who's been across all of the region, but I have been working regionally for the last 4 years. I've worked in Biola, I've worked in Mendota, I've worked in San Joaquin, I've worked in Huron, even though Huron is not part of our district, but I'm just saying that I've worked regionally in a lot of different projects. I've worked to upskill our workers to make sure that we're building pathways to new jobs. Working with labor and making sure that those labor jobs and jobs with prevailing wages are accessible to you. I've made sure that we're bringing in new industry and that you're part of that. And so I want to continue to do that. I want to continue to bring that to you, and I look forward to serving you as your supervisor. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Hernandez.
Yeah, as I said in the last question, our communities need and our families need someone that understands the issues that they're facing. Someone that's worked in all of the communities, incorporated and unincorporated. In this last year alone, I helped bring $4 million to Fresno County through my advocacy at the federal level. We've gone to Sacramento and to DC to fight for access to funding for rural college districts, for rural broadband out on the west side. I've worked both at the city, I've worked in farming, I've worked with stakeholders at the industry level, with the unions. It's been my job over these last several years to make sure that I can connect with the communities and understand where their needs are. Right? I've been a field representative. I was a field representative for over 2.5 years at the city, an outreach director at the congressional level, and an elected official for a college district. And so I've dedicated a lot of my time to making sure that we can bring resources to the communities that need it and deserve it. Again, I studied animal science. My background was in something else, but the need has continued to grow, and we need somebody that understands what's happening right now. Someone that understands that no matter how much money you make as a young person, it's hard to buy a house. The gas prices are disproportionately affecting us out on the west side. Energy costs, everything. And so we need someone that's looking forward with the vision forward, and not someone that's looking backwards 20, 30 years to what it was like when they were in their 20s and 30s, trying to understand how to navigate the world. So the communities need someone that understands them and also has the experience in leadership and working ability to make sure that we continue to fight.
Thank you. Councilmember Karbassi.
Yeah. Folks, there are so many issues we didn't get to discuss tonight, and it's really hard to see where someone stands when it's just a 1 minute time frame. Things like street racing, illegal dumping, ag theft, water, we didn't really discuss a whole lot. There was not one question on public safety. You deserve to know which of the 6 of us is going to keep you safe. While it may not be your most important issue, the #1 responsibility of this county is your safety. And I promise you folks, I'm the only candidate up here that has experience lowering violent crime and getting the funding to hire more police officers and firefighters. That's my commitment to you. I think that being a leader is about being a watchdog, someone who's always looking out for your interests. It's about someone who listens. That's why I give my phone number to everybody. It's 601-0564. Write it down, text me, call me. I'm accessible to you and I work for you. But it's also about someone that can speak up and fight, and not just fight, but win. For the last 7 years, I've represented the neighborhoods where I was born and raised, and I've won a lot of victories for them, and I've had a lot of good people behind my back. I don't come to this campaign alone. I come here with the support of Sheriff John Zanoni, DA Lisa Smitkamp, Mayor Jerry Dyer, the Mayor of Clovis, the Fresno County Prosecutors Association, Law Enforcement Association, Sheriff's Deputies Association, Sergeants Association, our firefighters, the people that we depend on when we call 911, our Building Trades Council, the Chamber of Commerce, the realtors. Go on the website, MikeForFresno.com, look at the endorsements, and see what I'm all about. I'd be honored to serve you as your advocate with strength and create wins for you. I'm Mike Karbassi, and on June 2nd, I'm asking for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. And you're correct. I wish we had more time to get through all the questions.
Blake, that was not a knock. You've been doing a great job, I promise you.
Thank you. Mr. Payne.
Yeah, our community is facing some significant challenges. Homicides have tripled in the city of Fresno. The Shaw corridor continues to be in a bottleneck and lack infrastructure there. Our local government is being sued left and right by its employees. Our residents are feeling the pinch right now in this economy. And they know that just because you have a fully 950 police officers, that doesn't mean that your neighborhood is going to be any safer because of that investment. We know that prevention and intervention is necessary when it comes to public safety. Working with our local nonprofits, making the necessary investments in our green space to ensure that our kids have parks that are safe that they can play at with their friends. We know that there are high unemployment numbers that we have seen in Fresno County. We know that there is work that needs to be done, and there needs to be a problem solver and a solution builder. And I'm that person, and I'm ready to lead on day one. At State Center Community College District, we built a world-class child care facility. We have a state-of-the-art STEM building where we're training the next generation of engineers and mathematicians to serve our neighborhoods and our community. I'm supported by the Latino Realtors Association. I have a number of elected officials that are standing behind me, like Kimberly Tapscott-Munson on the school board, Washington Union School District trustees, but more importantly, working families that are nurses, public safety officials, first responders, teachers, and people who are just trying to make it every day. I see it firsthand, and that's why I'm running for Fresno County Board of Supervisors.
Thank you. Councilmember Perez.
Sure. The first thing is as everybody knows me, todos me conocen, I don't need to give you my phone number because you already have it. Over 10 years ago, you already have it. You can call me whenever you guys want. I'm the only candidate that I don't, I spend $1,000. We are doing it with our own people because the people knows me, the people believe in me, and I have a lot of people like Espi Sandoval, who is a former, professor. I have Ismael Herrera, who is a councilmember for Kerman. I got Eduardo Gonzalez, who is a rural prosperity center. I got my mayor from Firebaugh and my pro tem. They already knows me. They know that I'm very open to each one of them. I'm not a big politician like you already know. I'm a public servant only since I remember. So I know that District 1 is at a critical moment right now with major decisions being made about land use, economic development, and public investment. With billions of dollars in potential projects and long-term impacts on the region, the choice made today will shape the future for generation, ensuring that communities are informed, engaged, and involved in this decision. It's essential to creating a fair and a sustainable future for all. And you know what? We are the majority. Somos la mayoría. Ustedes necesitan votar. Ustedes que no votan, salgan a votar. ¿Quieren un cambio? Vamos a hacerlo conmigo. Ayúdenme y yo les ayudaré también. O sea, en la calle me miran, donde ustedes me miran, yo me paro a hablar con ustedes. Gracias.
Thank you. Trustee Flores.
Yes. Well, I'm an ordinary girl from the Valley all my life, and I will be very happy to serve you as a public servant. I'm humbled. I'm led and love my family, my faith, and public safety. I'm committed to be a champion for you. My service and serving 21 years in Mendota at Mendota Unified School District, I have been able to accomplish many things along with the board diocese. My endorsements come from the voters in the West Side. I'm very happy to have many of you come alongside me to support me because they believe I'm a leader, and they know that as a Board of Supervisors for District 1, I will have the best interests of the taxpayer and the people, and to make the decisions based on what is right and just for District 1, and not what the diocese may think. So I may be the only vote that says yes to something, or the only vote that would say no, but it's always because the interest is you and not me or anyone else. But I want to serve you to the fullest of my ability with the experience that I bring to the table and to contribute to Fresno County District 1. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to the candidates for participating in today's forum. Special thank you to GV Wire and to CMAC for co-hosting. This concludes our forum. Have a nice evening. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.
That's very good. Thank you.